Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Vagrant Story Episode 3. My laptop took a poop on me, so I had to re-record some footage, that's why my stats are a little different. And I also power gamed, so I changed the Hyperfister to Power Gammon. You will see in a second why. And I have SorenHighwind with me as today's special awesome guest.
Hello, everybody.
And there you see Power Gammon. I actually took the time to just sit there and attack that dummy over and over again to max its stats. To save me some time later.
Awesome.
So, yes, it is quite awesome. And it actually did not take me that long to do it because of the magic of emulators and like going into turbo mode and having turbo fire and all that stuff. It really only took
Yeah.
3 minutes. So,
I
that's
trying to
awesome.
figure out how to do turbo stuff for like PlayStation games.
Yeah, it's not like it took me a little while to figure it out too. It's not native to EPSXE or whatever. I had to use my gamepad software to emulate it, basically. So, but it worked, and so here you see me using the axe, which
Yeah.
because I don't want to use Power Gammon or it'll lose its stats. Because if you attack Beast, you have a chance of losing your human stat and whatnot. So I don't want to
Right.
screw with it.
Right.
Not at all. I'm told that. Oh, go ahead.
That just got knocked the hell out.
That's right. Told that like previous super guest star Chronomaniac, SorenHighwind is previously unfamiliar with Vagrant Story.
Pretty much.
Sweet. And for the first time here, I'm showing off your sweet map.
This is a pretty sweet map.
It helps because it shows you when you collect those sigils, or sigils, or however you want to pronounce that.
Yeah.
It'll show you on the map, like, hey, stupid, you can unlock the door here to progress.
Awesome.
Just quite awesome. The part coming up, well, actually, it's the next video, I should say, but we're soon approaching the spot that most first-time players quit the game.
Oh god.
And we have been introduced to most of the mechanics now in Vagrant Story. One thing that I haven't talked too much yet about is yet more stats on the weapons. So they've got classes, affinities, types, and they also have DP and PP. Yes, PP.
I see.
uh,
I'll take your word for it.
DP, I think, stands for damage points, maybe durability points, which can be recovered by repairing. And so the higher they are, the more damage you do. And I think that the way the formula works, if you're at 0, you basically lose half your damage.
I see.
So it is fairly important to keep that as high as you can. Obviously, as you use the weapon, it's going to decrease. But that's what the chain ability Temper helps you with, because it...
Oh god, that was awesome.
Yes.
Sorry.
It doesn't restore DP, but it like significantly reduces the rate at which it decreases.
Yeah.
Now, opposite DP are phantom points, which increase as you use the weapon, and when you have the PP full or whatever, that's when you do more damage. So you want to keep DP and PP both as high as you can.
Yeah.
And that'll come into play a little bit later in this video.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell happened to that guy?
He got messed up. Way
I'm guessing
messed
that's
up,
his soul or something.
I suppose. And now,
Oh god, zombie!
zombie apocalypse. I wouldn't be pondering that at that moment. I'd be more freaked out about the giant.
Yeah, I would be like, oh crap, zombie!
Now, I
Then
should
again,
mention,
I'm not Mr. Riot here, so...
yeah, it is entirely possible to beat this game only ever using the first weapon that you get and never really like screwing around with stats and stuff. That's how they do it in speedruns, but that's not fun. I won't show off all the mechanics, so we're not going to do that.
Right.
And here we get a weapon I've been waiting for, a piercing one-handed weapon.
Ooh,
Which
classy.
is awesome. So we're going to name it. I'm pretty sure I actually take your name suggestion on this one. With, where do I go with? I went with the murder death option.
Oh my god. That is fantastic.
Yeah, you'll see why we call it murder death.
Oh god, that was just a joke suggestion.
Joke suggestions are the
'Cause I-
best.
Because I couldn't think of anything decent.
It actually works for what I put it to use for, kind of.
Oh, that makes it even better.
Indeed. And so now the wine cellar is full of zombie ghoul type enemies to
Oh,
attack.
jeez.
And here I'm using the rapier. I'm really bad at pronouncing things.
Yeah,
The weapon we just picked up.
they're here.
Even though it's not as effective as probably using an edged weapon would be against these guys, I'm using it so I can build up those phantom points I was talking about earlier.
Right.
As you can see, it only does like 9 damage there
Yeah.
to certain parts of that enemy. Now, if you miss on the first attack of your chain, the rest of your chain is going to suffer because most of your attack damage is going to be based on that initial strike. So if you whiff on the initial strike, then you're really gimping your damage, and you should just abandon the chain.
Yeah.
In most cases. There is an ability called, I think it's called Raging Ache, that does damage based on your max HP minus your min, or your current.
Yeah.
Or is it backwards? Is it the other way? Anyway, basically the more hurt you are, the more damage you do. So it doesn't matter if you hit the first part of your chain or not with that ability.
Yeah.
And because of my risk, I'm having a hard time hitting the enemy, so I'm like, yeah, screw it, I'll just lower with one of our curative items.
Yeah. The zombie's dead.
Re-dead. And the reason I keep choosing chain abilities is because there's a certain one that I want to unlock called Instill. And what Instill does is it... the description for it's kind of like misleading or hard to understand. It says it takes, I think, 10% of the damage and makes that phantom points, but it seems to do a lot. It seems to add a lot more than 10% to your phantom point total. Most of the time, I use it like once or twice, and the weapon is goes completely full on phantom points. So I'm not sure exactly how many phantom points it adds to your weapon, but it adds a lot.
I see.
However, it does really low damage.
That guy's messing you up, man.
Yeah, he is. Rather than doing chains here, I was trying to see if there was a difference between doing chains and just attacking like one at a time as far as gaining phantom points goes, and I'm pretty sure there's not a significant difference, so you might as well just chain.
I see.
But that's my amateur opinion only.
Right.
I could probably... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead.
I said I could probably look it up, but, lazy.
Yeah.
And there I'm checking my phantom point total.
This game has kind of weird character design. I mean, just the hair antlers on Ashley here alone.
Well, I mean, it's square.
Okay, granted, but... Okay, yeah, never mind. You have a point.
Well, and he's got assless chaps, too, so...
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything about that because I wasn't too sure.
No, they're definitely assless.
Due to the PS1 models, but okay, thanks for the clarification.
Oh, you're welcome. Yep.
I needed that bodily image in my head.
It's just so much more freeing and, maneuverable for combat.
Exactly.
At the very least, he's not some kind of, like, emo, angsty 17-year-old, whatever.
Yeah.
He's in his late 20s. So it's understandable why he's, powerful or powerful-ish.
Yeah. He's hard and badass.
Exactly. Which actually most of, how do you pronounce that guy's name? Matsuda, I think? Could be misremembering. Most of that guy's games do feature more realistically aged protagonists. When he was originally designing Final Fantasy XII, for instance, he didn't have Van and Pinello in there. Square made him kind of add those characters, which is why they're so useless to the plot.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was originally just supposed to be
I thought Bosch was supposed to be the main guy.
Yep, Bosch was going to be the main character.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense in terms of the story.
Exactly. So as I said, ghouls and zombies everywhere. Ghouls and ghosts, or goblins, or whatever. Oh, fuck.
Oh god. I'm getting super ghouls and ghosts flashbacks.
As you should be.
I had that game at one point on an actual SNES cart. I had to beat it on easy mode and use cheat codes for maximum lives because that game was just too hard for me.
I don't think
I
I've
found out about the second loop and I was like, screw that noise.
Yeah. I already played you once, never again.
Never again.
At this point, I'm fairly certain I have enough PP. Man, that's just every time I say that. At least this time I realize I'm saying it, unlike G.I. Joe, where I just kept saying Hyper Fist, completely like oblivious to the fact that I'm saying Hyper Fist until the last episode. Oh, awesome. Yeah, 97 out of 132. If you're having trouble with this boss, what you would want to do is you would want to max out that the phantom points on the rapier, because he is an armored enemy and piercing weapons deal a boatload more damage to armored enemies.
It's kind of weird seeing all this jumping around in what is ostensibly an RPG.
Yeah, the jumping helps you avoid enemy encounters if you're really good at it.
That guy's not messing around.
He also has a pretty cool sword.
Yeah, I noticed.
So, first thing first, you want to debuff him.
Right.
With the new spell that we picked up, I think, from the last boss that I haven't used yet,
Right.
which will lower his strength, making him much more susceptible to damage.
Yeah. Oh, so are spells like free actions, basically?
They're not like free. I don't know. There is a little bit of time that they take, so immediately after you're still a little vulnerable.
I see.
But as you can see, I went for the riskier strategy, which is targeting the abdomen. It does a lot more damage. Like the base damage there was 49, but you can take him out in one chain.
Oh, he just tore through that guy.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
I need the Super Smash Bros. Announcer in here.
And again, I'm trying to avoid agility bonuses, but I think I get one on this roll.
Yeah.
No,
Incredible!
Sweet, I got intelligence. Awesome, and I think in the second video when I beat the Minotaur, I got some HP bonus.
Yeah.
Which didn't carry over to this re-recording. I think I got a strength bonus from him instead.
Let's see.
For all those who care a bunch, because I know everyone does.
Totally.
Everyone wants to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
And there you can see the effect of the elixirs. They just raise stats. Random
items, always great.
Randomly 1 to 4, so if you wanted to save scum, you could.
Yeah.
Although there's not really a huge point to it.
Yeah, I'm not much of one for save scumming either.
In some games, it might make sense if the items are like limited, but because you can play through this game infinitely and max your stats just by playing through if you wanted to, it doesn't really make sense to save scum the stat ups.
Right.
Here we're going to store a bunch of weapons that we won't be using. Like that crappy bow. Bows, for whatever reason, I think they only get half the amount of bonus from phantom points. Plus, you can't use a shield while you're using them, so they're kind of gimped. But they do have really big range, so I guess that's a plus.
Kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy II. They were like the only weapon that I never really used because it sucked.
I also find it harder to chain with the bows because you don't have like the obvious kind of striking animations that the other weapons have that help clue you in a little bit. You just kind of have to like wait for the exclamation point to appear, but nothing a little practice wouldn't fix. And there you see, anytime you use the container to do anything, you have to save. So, also this room the room that had that container and that save point becomes a little important a little later on because it gets a dummy of its own for undead weapon training.
Sweet. Ow, God.
Yeah, I wasn't having a good night with chaining. It was late, and I was tired. There we get our first break art. I think I unlocked a break art in the second video, and the reason it's so late here is because when I was re-recording, I pretty much avoided all the enemy encounters up to the boss.
Yeah.
You unlock break arts based on how many kills you deal with that weapon type. It just has to be a finishing blow, and I think at 20 you unlock your first one for the sword.
Right.
They take HP instead of magic points to use, and they all will have like special properties, like they could be blunt type damage or light or fire or whatever. So sometimes they're useful, sometimes they're not.
Yeah. This game seems complicated, but like, you know, the good kind of complicated, where you have fun just trying to figure out all the systems.
Yes, there's a bunch of systems. Here's an easy way to kill these guys. You could chain them. I think they have about 40 health. They're pretty resistant to physical attacks, but you can just nuke them with Spirit Surge.
Right.
Although
runes into their body.
Although that does take quite a bit of MP out of your total, especially this early on.
At least it regenerates, though. That's cool.
Yeah, everything regenerates. It regenerates a lot more slowly if you have your weapons out, however.
This game actually seems pretty cool. I mean, I haven't really heard much about it besides dudes saying how awesome it is. But seeing it in action kind of makes me want to play it.
It's Dark Souls before Dark Souls was Dark Souls.
I haven't played either of those games, so...
I haven't actually played Dark Souls either. Here I'm showing off, as with most undead enemies, you can cure them to damage them too, if you like.
Final Fantasy has taught me anything, it's that healing zombies kills them.
Yes.
Them dead.
It re-deads them. And up above is an important chest for the early game.
Yeah.
Unless you're just powering through with the original weapon and abusing the Raging Ache combo. The Pink Squirrel, also known as the Shocker. Props to Boner for that sweet name.
Yeah.
I figured it fit with like an iron club. I don't know.
Right.
Here I fail at menus a little bit.
It's okay, it happens to all of us sometimes.
It'll happen again later. Spoilers.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
Now, the reason this weapon is important is because it is a one-handed blunt weapon. We haven't seen any blunt weapons yet. They're going to be effective against skeletons and also a later boss encounter.
It's kind of like a baseball bat.
It is. It's an iron baseball bat.
Fantastic. I didn't know they had baseball in Ivalice.
They do. And again, I suck at chaining. However, even though it's effective against skeletons, it's still only physical type damage, and it's not rated very highly against the undead, so that's why it's still dealing basically the same damage that the Murder Death was doing.
Right.
However, we want them sweet, sweet phantom points, so we're going to use it for a little bit to make sure that it gets full phantom points. We're also going to get hit by that trap every time.
Yes, that's the best way to go about it.
And these slimes take forever to do their attacks, so they're really irritating. I was looking for skeletons to hunt.
Yeah. Lay into them.
Destroy them with fire and bad chains.
And metal.
Now, interesting note, I don't know if I brought it up in the video before, but you only get one chance at stat fluctuation per chain attack. So like if you do a chain of 30, the only hit that's going to count towards changing your stats is that very first one. So there is a point to not using chains, or to just like attack over and over, you know, one at a time.
Yeah.
And here I was looking for more skeletons and realized there were none.
Oh, you slaughtered them all.
Yes.
Ritualistic genocide, you racist bastard.
Leave no skeletons alive.
Hell no.
Or bats.
Or bats.
And I haven't really designated a beast type weapon to be using yet. I probably could have hung on to the axe in hindsight and used that as my beast slaying weapon, but That would have also increased the amount of times I'd have to screw around in the menu. That's one downside of Vagrant Stories. They didn't have like a quick weapon select or switch. That would have been really nice. Something akin to Metal Gear Solid, perhaps, where you held down L2 or R2 and went through a quick menu.
I don't think I've played any of the Metal Gear games. I'm not much of a stealth person.
You son of a
What's
bitch.
this?
That is a ghost, and he's a big cock gobbler. And even though I don't want to use this weapon, because it could lower my stats or whatever, edged weapons are the only things that are really going to damage the ghost at this point.
Yeah.
And he, again, is a huge jerk because he uses strength down on me, which means if I want to stay competitive, I pretty much have to use it on him. And as you can see, our attack magic does zip for damage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel like trading 25 magic points for 8 damage, then be my guest, I guess.
What's that timer about?
That's the amount of time you have to defeat him. He's also a huge jerk because he teleports around the room randomly. And if he doesn't teleport close to you, then he's basically... If you try to approach him, he's going to get a free hit on you and you won't be able to target him. So you just have to hope he appears close to you.
This guy's a dick.
Like that. He is a dick, but he has really low health, so that's nice.
That didn't look very fun.
Ominous foreshadowing of shadowing for shadows.
It's not gonna come up again. Crazy. This is only an RPG.
Narpigba.
A Ripka.
Yes. There we get our first two-handed sword, which we will see will quickly share space with the other weapons we've benched.
Right.
Because shields are OP.
Shields are awesome.
Also, there's nothing really remarkable about it stat-wise. It's pretty much got the same stats as everything else we have, as far as attributes and class and affinity and all that goes, so
Yeah.
really not a big reason to use it.
This game's actually really pretty for a PS1 game.
Yes. Although I do have, emulator graphic enhancement stuff going on.
Kind of shocked by how...
And here I
graphics are.
foolishly am continuing to use that weapon and got lucky that it didn't lower my stat. So we switch to murder death.
Alternatively, death murder.
Yes. I won't spoil what it is soon to become when I start recording my next videos.
All right.
It'll
Can't
be
wait.
neither murder death nor death murder, but it'll be something.
Can't wait.
It'll be sacrificed for the greater good.
The greater good.
And what a great good it will be.
The greater good.
I get a little antsy with my button pressing here. We're about to pick up our MVP weapon of this segment of the game. And it'll still be useful even in the next areas that I'm going to be recording in.
I see. Actually, as a strong dude, just be able to just lift a giant wooden box.
Oh, maybe there's nothing in it. Could be hollow.
What is a hollow wooden box doing in wherever this is?
Well, I thought the bat was above me, that's why I keep spamming the button, but nope,
Oh shit!
just a phantom dick. I don't know. I should have just attacked him there. Instead, I was like, I'll switch to my edged weapon, but whatever.
Yeah.
Draining intelligence doesn't really matter because I don't use intelligence for any of my major attacks.
I wonder how telling that is.
You wonder what?
I wonder how telling that is.
Yes, indeed.
I'm just kidding.
Indeed. It's somewhat difficult to try to play this game like as a mage, and there I just fail at button pressing. Target indestructible block. Yes.
It happens to the best of us.
Give me them sweet chest contents.
I love loot.
The Soul Kiss. You can see it's a knightly weapon.
Yeah.
Normally at this point in the game, that's the first time you'd see that weapons actually get like titles as you upgrade them. But of course, we saw that my Power Gammon is a divine weapon. It's all just based on the 2 highest stats that you have, or it might even just be the 1 highest stat
Right.
for that weapon. And it is a knightly weapon because it has 20 in undead. It also has, I think, 25 in light, which is really important. And here, I doubt myself. I'm like, wait, Apocalypse, Cap, what? I don't. No, that's not.
I can see the gears turning.
I'm like, wait, I'm so close.
Tip of my tongue. Yes.
And
Perfect.
it's perfect, and then, but for some reason, I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. F it. And eventually, I decide I'll name it after what's really going on here. I can't spell at 4 a.m.
Well, it's 4 a.m. It's kind of understandable.
Probably took too much time spelling this out, but whatever.
Nah, leave it in.
Yes, I thought it was funny at the time.
Hilarious.
It also just barely fits. Perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty generous naming space, actually.
Yeah, I think it's 20 characters? I don't know.
It's pretty good. I'm too used to like 6. This is kind of blowing my mind.
So really, for all intents and purposes, that should be the Apocalypse, but
Right.
for whatever, I had it, but thought it was wrong, so I don't know. Now look at how much freaking damage we do to undead.
Ah, damn.
Yes. And that's against a guy wearing armor even, so that's even better than it
So many
appears.
damage. Give me those double-digit numbers.
And we'll see later in the videos that I'm about to record, actually, that having that bonus to the light attribute as well as being undead or whatever makes that weapon really, really just awesomely powerful against undead is what I'm getting at.
Right. Push those blocks.
I actually do this apparently the stupid way. The other way to do it is to have that stone block remain on the other side of the room, but whatever.
Right.
You can solve puzzles multiple ways. This is not the fast way.
Who needs the fast way?
Speedrunners.
Just had to prove your point, didn't you?
And people who want to be impressive on the internet. Unlike that move. One thing that's a little bit annoying about Ashley is that when there's stuff that's only at like his chest, if you press in that direction, he'll kind of automatically climb up.
Right.
Even when you maybe don't want to, like maybe instead you want to grab the block or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Who built this place? Whoever they are, they're a terrible architect.
Well, whatever.
just imagine having to move blocks and boxes just to get to doors where you have to go to work every day. It's awful.
I don't think anyone really works in the catacombs. Plus, in the backstory, 25 years ago, there was a giant earthquake that wrecked everyone's poop. So that's probably another reason the stuff's all messed up and out of place or whatever.
Yeah. Good point there.
So here I am checking the relative phantom points of all of my weapons.
Right.
Because we just unlocked Instill, which will allow us to quickly fill phantom points. However, if you continue to use it after you've already filled your phantom points, it seems to very quickly degenerate your durability points. So there you see I used it once, and it was the attack that did 6 damage.
Yeah.
And so now we will take a look and see... Oh, maybe not.
Now we will kill this zombie with
We
the
will
giant sword.
We will F this zombie in the A.
Didn't even get to use his claymore. Poor guy.
I always forget that cursor memory is on. And we see that just using Instill once filled up the Apocalypse with all of its phantom points.
Yeah.
Which is good for us. Bad for enemies.
You were just bad news for that. Oh god. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. F you, bat. And actually blunt weapons against this guy, bad idea, as you can see.
Yeah.
Base 1 damage, even though I need to increase your phantom points, I shall be using the Apocalypse. And once again, we get to see how effective having... It's not just effective against undead as a class that's doing that much damage, it's the fact that it also has the affinity weakness is what's really boosting the damage there. And we will see that to greater effect once again in the videos that I'm about to start recording.
Yeah.
We'll see the difference between having a weapon that's buffed against just class, so like really effective against undead, but not necessarily the right affinity. And we'll see that even the weapon that's got like, you know, mid-20s in class and affinity weakness will do almost the same amount of damage as something that's got maxed as class. So those affinities really pay off.
This game is really obtuse.
Yes,
But
it
it's
is the
good kind of
most.
obtuse.
Basically, you won't get by. Well, I mean, it does pay to use the training dummies or whatever to make powerful weapons against enemies, but you don't really have to beat the game. The game throws enough tools your way to get through it without ever having to mess around with that kind of junk.
Yeah. Sounds good.
You just have to be smart about it.
Right. Pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, probably the most important things to pay attention to are phantom...
Flipping character models.
Yes. And clipping through skeletons. Are phantom points, durability points, and affinity weaknesses.
Screw that guy. Got no time for him.
Yes. We'll F him in the A later.
The door has been locked.
Ominoso. It's time to pull out murder death.
Yes.
We're about to murder some death.
Fantastic.
Death some murder.
Murder death itself.
Yes. Actually, you do later.
This game is secretly Castlevania.
Spoilers. There is an enemy called Death later.
Oh my god, this game is Castlevania.
OMG! So yeah, piercing weapons are effective against dragons. Hence, we will be using them.
Yeah. Oh, it looks more like a fish monster to me.
It's Lizardman.
Ah.
Ho ho ho, Lizardman.
This game is also Soul Calibur.
We could have also used Apocalypse and dealt about the same amount of damage, so
Right.
I just wanted to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you're good at chaining, you can take these guys down in one chain. If you whiff, you're gonna get some spear damage.
I love that you can attack dudes in midair.
Yeah. Once again, you whiff your first attack, might as well abort the chain.
Right.
And then you get lucky with critical attacks. Yes!
Because that's how this game works.
So we picked up the key that'll allow us to progress to the next map area.
Sweet.
And I could have got Raging Ache there and whatever and abused that mechanic of the game, but instead I went for the defensive abilities so I can start reducing damage I take from magic attacks, even though I am god-awful at timing against attacks.
Yeah.
Because I've not played this game in many moons, so I'm still rusty.
I've been there before.
Good.
Oh, monster.
One thing that's interesting about the that defensive ability, Ward, I think it is, could be wrong, Impact Guard maybe, I forget the name, but it's the one that reduces damage against physical attacks.
Yeah.
Say a physical attack takes you down to 0 HP, but you successfully use that ability against it, you will then regenerate half the damage. So if like attack Say an attack did 70 damage and took you to 0 HP, you'll gain back 35, so you won't actually die, even though it looks like you should have.
That's pretty cool.
And that is how you successfully run around at low HP for the entire game, abusing Raging Egg. And here is the last major mechanic of the game we haven't seen yet, workshops, where you can actually start combining stuff.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is the meat and potatoes of upgrading your crap in this game.
That's awesome.
All the starting armor you get is worthless as far as combining goes. Well, I guess you could like raise the stats and combine, but they won't combine into anything of a higher like armor tier, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
They won't become like that reinforced glove that I just made or whatever.
Yeah.
What was it? The ring sleeve. Like, yeah, you won't get anything cool out of bandages and whatnot. So
This makes me want to buy this game.
that's what I'm getting at. And you can combine like any piece of armor with any other piece of armor. So legging stuff with head stuff, arms with chest or whatever. So yeah, there's huge tables. There's huge tables online that'll tell you what results from everything. Or you can just play around with it. And also your all your class affinity and type ratings will combine as well, which we will see later, and that's kind of how you forge much more powerful weapons and armor. We make ourselves a sweet shield upgrade.
Sweet.
There's nothing really to combine weapon-wise just yet.
That comes later.
Indeed. We repair our crap, which uses up a little bit of phantom points, but restores all of your durability points, yes.
Right.
It's time to get equipped.
Get equipped with
Ring sleeve.
bear mask.
Jerkin. That's what I'm doing right now. I mean, what?
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 Nothing.
Am not. Just kidding. JK Wall. We also have, what am I doing here?
Sorting through stuff.
Oh yeah, the very important get rid of all your crap option.
Yes.
Probably in the future I won't show to this depth my inventory management, but this is just so you get an idea of how to do it.
Yeah.
And how to get rid of crap, because as you can see, I was already maxed out on the armor, or basically maxed out on the armor I could carry on my person. We will, however, be hanging on to the sweet iron knuckles. We can't combine them with anything in this workshop because, as it said when we first entered the room, you can only work on bronze and leather material in this workshop. So different workshops have different materials you can work on.
Yeah.
With the ultimate workshop being the one where you can work on any material.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Here's a little bit of foreshadowing with this weapon. What is it named? Oh. I wonder what I'll be doing with it.
I haven't a clue. I'll just have to wait and see.
Indeed. Power Gaming 2. Alright.
The second.
And with
Power
that...
Junior.
What am I looking at here? Oh, yes. I'm checking out the phantom points to see how much got taken away from our repair. Yeah, so I was checking mostly for the shocker, because I want to have that at max if I can.
Yeah,
which I think I go and do right here, which I probably, in hindsight, could have done off camera.
Oh, well, we get to see you get hit by acrid ooze.
Do I time it? Nope, too slow. I think piercing weapons are your best option against the oozes.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you pierce a gelatinous mass? I'm wondering.
Effectively, apparently. Well, it makes more sense than trying to bludgeon it, I guess.
Touche. Perfect. Great.
Perfecto.
Fantastic.
When I first played that game, I thought those were different cues as to like how close you got to actually timing it perfectly, you know? But no, it doesn't matter. Don't be fooled.
I'm worthless.
Don't be confused.
Alright then. Consider me informed.
And so with that, we use the container as our save point, basically. Store all that extra crap. And in the next video, which is a little shorter than this one.
Spell. Air quote, heal, unair quote.
Yes. We will be tackling the point where most of the hateful reviews on GameFAQs are written about, and where most people rage quit, apparently.
Yeah.
If the internet is to be believed. And I believe everything on the internet.
That's a dark road you're going down, Deezee.
I know. So, will you be joining me for that one, do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Probably. I won't have anything else to do.
Sweet. So it sounds like we'll be rolling straight into it then.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yes.
More Vagrant Story. It's actually, it's a little more interesting, I think, than this portion of the game. But
I see.
because we didn't see any super cool boss fights really in this part. Well, yeah. We did have Dolan, that guy with the armor and the sword.
It could have been super cool, but you murdered him.
I did. I destroyed him. So we will see you in the next video. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, indeed.